And as you can see, the lotion is reading a pH of 5.3, which is perfect because Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make face moisturizer. I am a huge fan of all of those expensive face creams from Sephora, and then I decided enough was enough. I'm going to try to make my own face stuff at home because I can, and that's when I decided to formulate something special, and the product that I came up with is amazing and I'm so proud of it. So that is the face cream that I'm sharing with you today, and if that is something that you are interested in, keep watching. If you're new here, hello, my name is Jerica. I am the CEO of Quench Inc., which is a soap and bath bomb company, and on this channel I talk all about that company, how I make my products, how I sell my products, everything, all the behind the scenes stuff. So if you are on that same journey and are interested in learning more about how a person runs a business out of their home, then subscribe. And now without further ado, let me show you how I make my face lotion. The first step that I like to do is to weigh out all of my water phase ingredients. And when I started to formulate this face cream, I definitely wanted to include rose water because I heard so many good things about it, both its skin benefits and also the amazing scent of roses that it has. And when I first opened this jug of rose water, it smelled just like roses, and the resulting cream smells amazing. And I don't know if it's this ingredient that does it or another one, but the end result cream is actually a really light blush pink color, so it's actually really appropriate that there's rose water in the cream. I'm super excited to include this ingredient in more of my formulations. I've also really enjoyed adding aloe juice to my formulations because I do find it incredibly soothing. I made an soothing aloe hemp cream for the summertime, and that sold out so fast, and I might show you guys how I make that in a later video, but I definitely think that adding these special waters really does make a difference when it comes to your final product. And this one has no scent whatsoever. It does have a very pale, cloudy consistency to it. I will also be using some hydrolyzed oat protein, and I love using this in hair products because it helps my hair just sparkle and shine, and it actually also does that same thing when it comes to skincare. I find that it really helps your product bring out your skin's natural glow. And you can use different proteins here. I'm using oat protein, but I also really like using rice protein. But there's so many to choose from when it comes to ordering from a soap supplier, but those are my two favorites, hydrolyzed oat and rice protein. Into my water phase, I will also be adding my allantoin powder. I have seen mixed things when it comes to whether I should add the allantoin in the water phase at the beginning or at the very end during the cool down phase, and I've tried both, and I find that I like it better if I add it in my water phase because I find that it disperses much easier if you do it that way, whereas with the cool down phase I'm a little nervous about it not dispersing properly along with my other ingredients. And you don't need a lot when it comes to allantoin. You should be using very, very little of it when it comes to formulating your recipe. And the last powdered ingredient I'm going to be adding to my water phase is my niacinamide. And niacinamide is an ingredient that I noticed in a lot of the skincare products that I was using and buying from Sephora, so I researched it a little bit more. And this product is actually really helpful when it comes to face skincare because it does a lot when it comes to protecting your skin's natural barrier and also helps to repair any damage. It also helps soothe. So for me, who has psoriasis and I'm battling acne and all of that kind of stuff, niacinamide was a must-have ingredient I needed to play with to figure out exactly how to use this in my face creams. I'm actually formulating right now a serum that uses niacinamide. I'm also playing around with hyaluronic, am I saying that right? Hyaluronic acid. That is another ingredient that I'm so excited to make products with. And I find once you start playing around with these types of ingredients, it becomes sort of like an obsession. You just want to make all of the products that you can because there's just so many cool benefits. So here are my water phase ingredients. You can see the powdered ingredients have come to the bottom. So I'm going to be giving this a stir, and as it's heating up on the stove, I will continue to stir it to keep the particles dispersed in my water phase. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to start measuring out my oil phase ingredients. And when it comes to my oil phase ingredients, I like to use a slightly larger beaker than my water one. because I'm going to be pouring my water phase ingredients into my oil phase ingredients. So the beaker needs to be big enough to contain both of those phases. So included with my oil phase ingredients is my emulsifier, and today's emulsifier of choice is Rita Mulse. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but Rita Mulse. And when I first created an emulsion using Rita Mulse, it was a very thick emulsion. It was super thick, but at the same time, it was very luxurious. So that's why I'm using it today. I really like using this type of emulsifier for my face products. Another reason why I got so into the idea of making face skincare is because there was a local soaper who was having going out of business sale, and she had tons of these types of ingredients where it was really helpful for face skincare, and that really got my gears going. And that's where I got the Rita Mulse from, and that's where I got camellia seed oil from. There were so many ingredients that were new to me, and I was so excited to play with them and figure out the types of products I could make with them. And in addition to Rita Mulse, I'm also going to be using a co-emulsifier, which is cetyl alcohol. And cetyl alcohol is also great for face skincare because it leaves such a smooth, powdery finish, while at the same time adding the most amazing slip when it comes to your face products. And that's the thing to think about when you're formulating face skincare, is how it feels, because that's the thing that people are going to be reflecting on the most when it comes to them using your face skincare. You got to be really conscious of what each ingredient will do to the actual final product. And that's why to the oil phase, I'm going to be using dimethicone. And what dimethicone is, it's like a silicone, and this adds a really velvety, smooth finish to the product. So if you find that your product is feeling tacky on your skin or gummy, then it might need something like dimethicone to help with the feel of the product coming onto the skin. And for the actual carrier oils of this face cream, like I mentioned, I'm going to be using camellia seed oil and hemp seed oil. And both oils are fantastic for face care because they just absorb so quickly, but they also have really great skincare benefits. And a great thing about hemp seed oil is that it doesn't clog your skin's pores. So if your skin is acne prone like mine, hemp seed oil for the face is fantastic. And look how liquidy camellia seed oil is. It's like watery. It's very light. It's one of those oils that once I started to use it in my face care, I was like, yep, this is why my earlier attempts at face lotion felt so heavy. It's because I wasn't using light oils like this. And I do use an unrefined hemp seed oil in my products. And for this moisturizer, I find that you don't smell the hemp seed oil whatsoever. The scent that comes through the most is that wonderful rose floral scent from the rose floral water. So here are my two phases ready to be put on the stove in a water bath to be heated up to about 158 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit and held at that temperature for about 20 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to blend the two phases together to create the emulsification. And we're back. My oil phase and water phase have been held at 160 for over 20 minutes now, so I'm going to pour the water phase into the oil phase and blend them all together using a stick blender, and I'll show you how I do that right now. So here's my water phase, and you can see how it's this gorgeous blush pink color, and I really think that it's from the rose water, but not 100% sure. I'm going to be pouring this guy into this guy and using my Braun stick blender to get the two mixed together. So now that my lotion is all blended together, I need it to cool down quite a bit before I add my cool down phase ingredients to the lotion. And while that's cooling down, I'm going to be measuring out my cool phase ingredients into its own little beaker. So what I like to include in my cool down phase is a little bit more water to make up for the water that evaporated during the cook while the water phase ingredients were on the stove heating up. So I like to add about 3 to 4% back into the lotion. So I'm going to measure out some distilled water. And this is also where I'm going to be adding my ceramide complex. And this is really thick stuff. It kind of has the consistency of glue. I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. So you can see here, I don't know if this is showing up on camera, but this is what ceramide complex looks like. And it's rather thick. I'm not using a lot of it in this recipe because you don't need a lot. You'll find that when it comes to expensive ingredients, you might be hesitant to include them in your recipes because you want to save money, but oftentimes you don't need a lot of these expensive ingredients in the formula itself. So a good exercise to do when you're thinking about formulating a product but it needs this ingredient that's super expensive, price out how much that ingredient will cost you and also see how much you actually need in your recipe. And then you'll find that because it's so little, that when you do your COGS and you determine the price of the product and you price it so that you make a healthy profit, the price of that product will be comparable to other like products in the market. So before you rule out an ingredient because it's too expensive, think about how you're going to market that product and also to the audience and customer base that you're going to be marketing that product for. Another expensive ingredient are extracts, but again, you don't need a lot in your product for it to pack a punch. And a lot of these safe usage levels are between 1 to 3%. And for those really concentrated extracts, it could be even less than 1%. I have really loved using green tea extract in my lotions. It is a game changer. I feel like this face lotion is so nice because of this extract. And I get my extract from New Directions Aromatics, and I really like their extract because the liquid extract is dissolved in what's called propanediol, I think is the ingredient name. And propanediol 1,3 is an ingredient you'll see in a lot of skincare because it is so fast absorbing. It adds an amazing slip to the product, and it's overall a great ingredient to use in skincare. So that's why I really like the liquid extracts from New Directions, because I think they're all dissolved in propanediol. And another extract that I'm using is going to be the cucumber extract. And this one is a lot more liquid than the green tea extract. And we are also adding panthenol to this face lotion. And panthenol is an ingredient I like to use in hair products because, like the hydrolyzed oat protein, it adds sparkle and shine to skin and hair, and it's just overall an awesome ingredient. It's also a really expensive ingredient, so it's one of those ingredients that'll make you wonder, should I invest in this? I'm not sure. And of course, the more you buy these ingredients in bulk, the cheaper it'll be for you to make. But there is always that fine line between buying too much in bulk and making sure that you're using those ingredients within the shelf life of that particular ingredient. And the last thing I'm going to be including in my cool down ingredients is my preservative, and the preservative I'm using today is Liquid Dermal Plus. And when it comes to lotions, I highly recommend using a broad spectrum preservative like Liquid Dermal Plus. I have also used Optifin in the past, and I really like that as well. But definitely look into each preservative and what they're best used for, because there are certain preservatives that are best for lotions, that are best for particularly face creams. I have heard people say that Optifin Plus causes their faces to tingle. So it all depends, and it's always good to research all the ingredients that you're putting into your products just so that you know exactly what is going on in there. And like I mentioned before, I will not be adding a fragrance oil or essential oils to my cool down ingredients. I really don't like using fragrance oil when it comes to that. I really don't think face care should have fragrance oil, but then again, I have sensitive acne prone skin, so it's not the best ingredient for me. But I mentioned before that the rose water has a really wonderful rose scent to it naturally, and I'm a fan of that. So now that I've combined all of my cool down ingredients in my beaker, I'm going to incorporate everything using this little mini whisk. It's like a frother, I think. And that'll break down the ceramide complex. It will disperse the panthenol and basically make all of the ingredients uniform and come together. So So now that it is all mixed, I'm going to set this aside and wait until my lotion has cooled down enough so that I'm able to incorporate my cool down ingredients. And a quick note on preservatives, a lot of them are heat sensitive. For example, Liquid Dermal Plus. It's best to add Liquid Dermal Plus at a product temperature of 50 degrees Celsius or 122 degrees Fahrenheit or below, because anything above that, anything hotter than that, could really compromise the effectiveness of its bacteria fighting powers. So definitely pay attention to the temperature of your product and only add the preservative once your product has adequately cooled down. So my lotion has cooled down just enough so that I'm able to add my cool down ingredients, and I'm going to stick blend that all together, and I'll show you how I do that right now. And as you can see, this lotion has thickened up so nicely. And I'm still going to wait for it to cool down just a little bit longer before I jar them. But this is blended enough. I'm going to scrape this immersion blender to get as much of this lotion as possible. And I will come back once this lotion is ready to jar. Now before I put the lotion into jars, one important step, especially when you're creating a brand new product, is to test its pH. So the pH meter that I use is from a company called Apera, and I got it from Amazon.ca. I know a lot of you guys are from the States, so if I find the same one in Amazon.com, I'll link it down in my description below. But this pH meter is really great because it came with the calibration solutions, and that's really important to ensure that your pH meter is reading the pH of your product correctly. It comes in a really handy tool box and it's battery operated. And when I first got this, I went through all of the steps that it comes with to show me how to calibrate the pH meter, and it's ready to test the pH of my products. So I'll show you how I do that right now. I'm going to create a solution where it's 10% my product and 90% distilled water. And I'm going to disperse my product in with that distilled water so that I'm able to have the pH meter's electrolyte reader read the pH of my product. So I have a little bit of my product in here, and I'm going to use my whisk to disperse the lotion in the distilled water. And now that the lotion is in there, I'm going to get my pH meter and read the pH. So I'm just going to put the pH meter in here. And as you can see, the lotion is reading a pH of 5.3, which is perfect because I want my skincare to fall between 5 and 6 on the pH scale. And the reason why this is such an important thing to pay attention to is because the pH of the skin of your face is totally different from the pH on the skin of your body. And so if you're putting something too acidic or too basic on the skin of your face, it could feel uncomfortable, it could throw off the whole balance of your skin structure, and it's not going to be good. So take that extra step and learn the true pH of your product, and your product will be better for it, I promise. So this lotion is thoroughly cooled down, and look at this amazing texture. When I first tried this lotion, I was amazed at how quick it absorbed into my skin while at the same time leaving it feeling so hydrated. It was something that was new to me because all of my body lotions that I've used on my face before didn't have that same effect. And it's definitely because of all these extra goodies that I put into this face cream. I'm really, really proud of it, and I think it's gonna do really well in our product line. And now when it comes to packaging the face cream, I'm going to be using these 2-ounce jars, and you might think that these jars are too small, but when you think about using face cream, you only use a tiny amount each time, so this will actually last a super long time. There are some companies that even sell their expensive creams in 1-ounce jars, so don't feel bad about putting it in a small container like this. Trust me, it will last your customer a long, long time, and you definitely want them to use all of it before it spoils. So I think 2 ounces is perfect. And here's another exciting part of making products is demoing those products. I have a little bit of extra on my spatula here. Kale, would you like to try some?
I would be honored.
Okay, here's a little bit on your hands. You want to come closer to the camera and give the audience your opinion?
It smells good. It's not overpowering. It smells florally. I'm gonna say rose.
Yeah,
Roses?
there's
Yep.
rose water in it.
Okay, okay. But not anything too rosy, right?
No, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
a faint scent, so
yeah.
I'm glad that you picked up on it. So what are your thoughts? Did you put some on your face?
Oh no, give me some more for my face.
Try some on your face, because it's a face lotion.
It goes on smooth. I don't feel like I'm too oily right now. Yeah, I feel like it absorbs, it's gone into my skin really fast. Like I don't feel any extra product on my face.
Nice. Does it feel tacky at all, or sticky?
No.
No?
No.
Nice and smooth?
Yep, no.
And that's exactly what you want from a face lotion. Something that's not sticky and tacky. You want it to glide on like a luxurious cream should. And you can see, look at this gnarly scratch I got from the, the microwave the other day. But I'm going to try a little bit on my shoulder here, and I'm not sure how fast it's showing how it absorbs, but that was pretty fast. Let me try that again. That was actually pretty cool. So here's the lotion. Here is my arm. You can see it going on there. And the skin just soaks it right up. And it is leaving a smooth, powdery finish. So you can't see it on my skin anymore, but it is definitely hydrated and smooth. And that is exactly what you want in a face lotion, something that doesn't sit on your skin. Unless, of course, you're aiming for that if you're making some sort of night cream where it's supposed to be applying deep hydration. But when it comes to day-to-day, you don't want to be walking around like an oil slick or have your makeup just break apart on you because your face moisturizer is too oily and thick. So if you want to know the exact ingredients and the exact amounts and percentages that I use in this recipe, then you can go check out my Patreon. This recipe makes about 5 2-ounce jars, and I love it so much. And speaking of my Patreon, thank you to everyone who has chosen to support me on there, especially my Bubble BFFs. And a lot of these guys are business owners themselves. So if you want to check out their businesses, you can see some of the links that I have down in my description box below. You guys have been so amazing on there. Thank you for building such a really, really awesome community. I have been enjoying Patreon so much, and it's all because of you guys. You guys are amazing. And I also wanted to mention, thank you so much for 40,000 subscribers. I woke up today with that number and I was just in pure disbelief. And to celebrate, Kale and I are gonna host another Q&A. So if you wanna ask us anything, now's the time to leave your question in the Q&A post that I have on my community tab. Go and check that out. And hopefully I will get to all of those questions. We're going to try to answer as many as possible, but really excited to check out what you guys have asked. I've taken a sneak peek and you guys have asked some really interesting questions, so really, really excited for that video to come out. And until the next video, keep smiling, keep being awesome, keep making beautiful, amazing things, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.